After midnight, I shall kidnap you from the world, and I'll keep you in my room. Hush now, my love, and hold my hand. After midnight, I shall take you to a place where no one else should know of. Hush now, my love, and hold my hand.
Islamic finance is also has a very interesting concept which is called profit and loss sharing. If you go to your bank and you have a business idea, but you don't have the capital, the bank then comes up with a contract called a mudaraba for you, where your part in that transaction is your expertise, your energy, and the bank is your financier. You then have to agree on an expected rate of return. Note the word expected as opposed to guaranteed rate of return, because that is what conventional finance expects. But you see, in Islam, you can't guarantee whether you're even going to take the next breath. So what about trying to guarantee a whole transaction? So we keep this in mind in our business transactions, and we realize that we will have an expected rate of return. The terms in the contract of what is being bought or what is being sold, your services are put on, are very clearly stated. And what then happens is, if a situation arises and the deal goes south and there's a loss, the bank then investigates to find out, is it based on negligence or misrepresentation? If it is, then the bank holds you liable for it, and you have to pay back the bank whatever is owed to them. But if it is a situation which is beyond your control and is not based on misrepresentation or negligence, then the bank here now has to absorb that loss and share the profits with you as per what was agreed in the letter of offer. So everything is straight up. There's no hidden story, there's no uncertainty, there's nobody one-upping the other. This really is the essence of Islamic finance. So profit is allowed, interest is banned. And there has been a lot of struggle, especially for people like ourselves who come from a Muslim minority country and are not used to hearing these terms, where we think they're almost interchangeable. But there is a very vast difference, like the situation we have explained. If you go to a conventional bank and you have a business idea and they fund it, they will give you a rate of return, an interest rate that is fixed. So no matter what happens, you have to return that money together with the interest. Why? Because again, the commodity here is the money in of itself. It is what they're giving intrinsic value. Whereas in Islamic finance, it is the asset or the service that is being given that has the value, and money is just the mode of exchange.
For more amazing content, visit ummah.co.ke and follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube.
About Islamic loans from Islamic banks is from Dubai. And unfortunately, a lot of the people ask about this, and we always tell them, Islamic banks do not lend money, because lending money with money plus interest is riba, is usury, and this is totally prohibited, and it's one of the 7 major sins of Islam. What the Islamic banks do, they either do tawarruq or murabaha or different transactions that are Islamically based. So in the case of tawarruq, they would probably sell you something they must own before selling it to you, and this thing is for you to take and to sell it elsewhere on the open market, and you would get definitely a lesser price for it because it's a second hand, and you will pay the difference over installments. So this is permissible. But there are so many things that they take the origin as Islamic, and then, as they say, the devil is in the details. They try to manipulate So they go to the sheikh and he signs a fatwa, or a committee, and they sign a fatwa saying that this is halal. If I have tons of iron, of steel, and someone comes and buys 100 ton of steel for XYZ, and I add a percentage over that, and I give him the option to pay it on over 2 years. This is halal. So what they do is they show this fatwa to anyone who comes. Not all of them, of course. There are banks that have committees, Islamic committees, that's auditing their transactions. But the majority of these Islamic banks, they just take the fatwa and then they do whatever they wish, and whoever talks to them, they show him the fatwa. But they don't have a department that audits all the transactions and says, no, this is wrong, this is right. So these so-called Islamic banks, most of them, or a great portion of them, they would take the fatwa and they would buy these, they would not buy the steel products, and they would just have an agreement with a steel factory or a steel vendor. And they, whenever someone comes to them and they say, yes, we will give you 100 tons, the price is so and so, you agree, okay, sign the papers, and they get the commitments and they get the guarantees. Then they talk to that vendor and tell them, okay, we would like to buy from you 100 tons, and XYZ would come and receive it on our behalf. And you would go and then you would receive it. This is not permissible because they sold you something they did not own. Now what's even worse is that you only go to the bank and they tell you, we will sell you 100 tons of steel, and after you buy it, you authorize us to sell it on your behalf, and you sign all the paperwork. In half an hour you find the money in your bank account. You did not see the steel yourself, you did not acquire it, you did not see the one who purchased it, and it's gone. All what you have is the money. This is organized tawarruq, as they call it, and this is totally prohibited and haram, and the majority of the banks are using this. So this was in short.